Coming up on OTH, Raymond and I go over the patch preview notes for 12.4, give an introduction of Champion Q now that it's out, and discuss what went on in the first week of LCS. We hope you enjoy this episode of On the Hunt. Welcome, everybody, to episode 44 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris, aka Mr. Electrolyte, because I had a pretty bad tummy ache last week, and that results in, fluids leaving my body, and I had to hydrate so much over the weekend and sleep a lot too. So, but I'm all recovered and I'm good to go. And I feel like a new human, but man, those were some awful days. Let me tell you.
I believe you, dude. You don't need to relive it here on the pod.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll just get past that really quick. Today I'm joined by our co-host Raymond. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. You know, when you said that, the first thing I remember was one of our nights out in Davis. You know, doing our normal debauchery, and one of your friends coming out from Sacramento and just like giving us Pedialyte that he had in his car for like exactly this occasion.
I don't remember. What?
Yeah, we were like at the El Burrito, like in downtown at like 1 a.m. And then it was like, all right, guys, time to go home. And he like takes us to his car. He's gonna give us rides home. And he's like, hey, you guys need anything to drink? Like, I got a Pedialyte in my car. Just passed it
That's
around.
sweet.
We were rehydrating.
I do not remember that, and I don't remember because I must have not had any.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't have. It sounds like you would have.
Yeah, I think back then I was just a germaphobe. Nah, no way. I don't remember sipping it, but I kind of miss those good old Trinity days, you know?
Right? It's been too long. It's been too long since I've tried to binge drink in like an hour.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite part is just taking the first two drinks and then just being okay with that and just having a real good cruising kind of night. It's the third one that screws you over, where
That's
you
true.
feel like you're halfway through and you're like, I could just finish it, and then it really hits you.
And then you're already past the point of no return and you get going to like somewhere else after the third bar and you're like, "Oh, we could do another drink. What's the fourth one? How do we make this the quad trinity?" Then that's
The quad trinity.
yeah. Anyway,
Anyways, we are here too. Well, what else has been going on with you?
I guess this is Lost Ark, right? We're recording this on Wednesday, so it's already been a solid night and a half kind of for me of playing games when I can, getting on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm like level 20 something, 23 maybe, two. I just got to like the third continent or zone or whatever.
Okay, yeah. I'm probably around the same place. I just finished a dungeon as well. But how do you like? I really like the game so far and the class that I'm rolling with.
What class did you pick? I picked Striker.
Okay, I'm rolling with Gunslinger right now, and I'm having a blast playing that class.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty fun. I don't know. I've seen a few, like more than a few people like talk about how the leveling is kind of weird and like not fulfilling, and I kind of agree with that. Like it's definitely like total. My brain is just off. Like playing this game, I'm just like I know how to use my abilities, and it's like every once in a while I have to go kill a creature, and then I'm just like walking around to different spots and like spamming G and getting over with dialogues. But it is.
True.
I do think it's like definitely like a nice to play game at least. Even if my brain is off, like I'm not having a bad time.
Yeah, and the thing that I give really strong benefit of the doubt that there's greatness just shortly ahead when it
Yeah.
comes to these kind of games. So I'm also having fun right now, so no complaints from me. One thing I do want to ask you is when it asks you if you want to move with left click or right click, what do you go with?
I had a I had to sit and think when it offered me the control scheme, and I was like, what would I feel more comfortable with? And I was trying to think because of League. I was like, it's gonna be like left click move and right click attack, right? That makes sense. I right click in League, and I did that, and it kind of felt wrong, but at this point, I've gotten used to it. and I haven't changed it back. So
Okay, I actually
I'm
had
left click
this.
move and right click attack.
Yeah, I had the same thought process, but then, like you were saying, like now it feels wrong to left click move. And I've actually played other games where like I play those games and come back to League and everything's just fucked with my hand movement. So I actually went to the settings and I switched it back to right click move, um, and now the world is correct again.
Okay, I might give that a shot, but like also at this point, I'm kind of like I have gotten used to it a little. So who knows?
Yeah, but anyways, I also went ahead and I made like 5 character names already just to lock
Just
them
to
down
secure
before
your names.
the public release. And that's not even like my first choice favorite names, but I'm happy with what I got so far.
I respect that, dude. Honestly, I do not have a connection to like my names for characters are just like whatever I can come up with. You know, it's like I'll name my first character Flippos in every game, and then after that it's just like whatever. Like I think my WoW character is probably the only other name like I've played the same right like the same priest in WoW for fucking 10 years or something. So like I'll pick that name if I need like a second name. And then after that, it's like, whatever, dude. You can random name me and I'll be fine with it.
Yeah, I was trying to make a funny one like Meathead, but it was taken, or like Bumblebee, but yeah, some cool things were already taken, especially because I didn't get to play until like 6 p.m. yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're working men over here, I guess.
Yeah, I get my hour lunch break. I'm still at home, so like I've been playing at lunch the last couple days.
Oh, okay. Uh, do you feel like an hour lunch is that too long? Or I feel like an hour long is too long, but 30 minutes is also too short.
I mean, like I don't, I it's too long to like just eat lunch, like that's for sure. But
Yeah,
I mean, I take my hour lunch every day. Like I'm gonna do whatever. I'll go for walks or come up and play Lost Ark. Like I'll do that.
that's pretty sweet. You know what? You do you. That was a compliment.
I understand. I mean, I'm like if you're gonna tell me like it's not a compliment because I don't get back to work quickly enough, I'm like, dude, fuck off. You're not my
Okay, so
boss.
League of Legends, here we
Yeah,
are
yeah, League of
with a
Legends.
preview for the next patch, 12.4, with just lots of champion changes and a small adjustment to support leveling when you have the support item. Um, and I'm just going to run through all of the champions that are going to get affected. And if there's any that stick out to you, we'll go ahead and talk about them a little further. So, champion buffs, we've got Aatrox Alawi, Amumu Ash, Lucian Callista, Zaya Set, Rumble Nico, and Nami. And then for nerfs, we have Zeri, Mundo, Kiana, Veigar, Blitzcrank, Nunu, and Master Yi.
I,
Maybe.
I think Mastery is not gonna happen this patch. That's what it says. But
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, I see that now. Do any of these stick out to you? I saw there's like a lot of 80 carries in the champion buff section.
yeah, it's kind of interesting the 80 carries that they're buffing. Like I think we've seen like for a little while it's been a pretty static meta about like it's just like Caitlyn, Jhin, Jinx maybe, and then now Zeri's like an OP right now, and she's getting hit with some nerfs too. So I don't know. We'll see if it makes a big change. I think it's kind of weird that they're like doing buffs to Lucian and Nami at the same time when they've become like the de facto combo with each other recently. Like that seems like not like a very good plan. But I don't know. Otherwise, they seem all. It's a lot of little changes. I don't see like one that's obviously like this is gonna fuck shit up, or anything like that. But they're kind of interesting.
Yeah. And then speaking of fuck shit up, I'll just go ahead and talk about the changes that they're making to the game to punish support top lanes. So what they're doing is they're messing with the objective bounty system. If you have 2 or more support items on a team, then um, gold leads are halved, is what it says. CS bounties are adjusted based on the number of income items on each team. And then there's also a minion farming penalty where I'm not really sure what it means, but it's
Bas-
decreased, and I assume that's
Basically,
bad.
before if you had like currently, right? If you have the support item, if you farm too much, you get a reduced value from minions. Basically, like they don't want you to take support items and farm like at a full rate. So it's like fine to be a support and like have to catch a wave because your AD died, but it's not okay to take the support item in a solo lane and just farm like normal. So they're changing it so that early, like you have an even higher penalty basically. Like you can farm less minions early on, and then
I
after
see.
five
Up to
minutes you
five
can farm a
minutes.
little more. Yeah,
Right.
but after 5 minutes it's still the same rate. Like you still can't farm like a shit ton. It's the same as it is now, but it's even more punishing early. So like the people that are currently like just trying to get level 3 and farming, the whole first 3 waves or whatever, because that's all you need, like now they'll even get like less gold, like half as much gold from that, basically.
Yeah. And then a lot of the champion adjustments are really small, except for what they're going to do to Zeri. It's just like back-to-back patches of them nerfing her with nerfs across all of her abilities, looking like. So I guess Zeri is really strong upon release. What do you think about her so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've definitely seen, especially like in LCS or like in any competitive environment, the priority on her is like pretty fucking huge. And as more skilled players like get a hang of it, it's obvious that she's pretty strong. I'm pretty okay with how they've like changed her. I mean, it's mostly just like damage down, and they're not changing like too much of how she's gonna play, I think. So I'm pretty okay with it. I think, and they're also skewing her still more towards the like crit builds too. So I like that as well. Just taking out base damage and making her like have to spec it rather than just being able to go the like weird bruiser off tank builds.
Yepers. Anything else from the 12.4 preview that catches your eye?
Uh, I don't think so. I'm gonna say one more thing on the support item thing is the like bounty stuff about it. Like to me that seems like surprising that they didn't already have these things in place on how bounty should work. Because it seems like I guess that seems like me as like a programmer thinking about it. But it seems like the cases that they're saying like they added like now that it should be based off of like if you have income items or support income items on your team, like that's how stuff gets like taken down, like your average goes down if you have support items. Like I would have thought that was how I implemented it the first time, not just like the person in the support role or whatever it would have been. So like I'm surprised kind of that they had to make this change and that it wasn't already working like this. But I'm glad that they changed it because this seems like the right way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe like they didn't think of the abuse cases before their Christmas break or something like that. Who
Right.
knows what the timing was like with that though. For me, I'm kind of looking at the Nico buffs that they're giving to her W, just 4 seconds off her W cooldown, which can be kind of nice for some matchups when it helps you drop minion aggro by going invisible. So, and also you're just like autoing people to death with in conjunction with that. So, I kind of like that buff for her,
Yeah, and
but
I,
it's
I
it's
kind of
nothing
like the
special.
hitbox size thing on her too. Like that seems like funny, like that they have to change it. Like that was like that before. I wonder if people, when I thought about that, I was like, oh, people will probably like that. And then I thought it too. I was like, maybe there's gonna be some weird stuff where people are so used to like using her W to block skill shots or something, and now her W clone is gonna be smaller, and they're gonna be pissed that it doesn't block the skill shot. But I don't think that'll really be the problem. But some Nico mains Reddit post is already like inflamed about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they're reducing the hitbox size by a lot from 80 to 65. That's what like almost a
Almost a whole
20%
quarter,
reduction.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's pretty funny actually.
Yeah.
Anything else for the patch preview?
No, I think I'm pretty good. We'll talk about anything else once we see the final numbers before it hits live.
For sure. Next up on our topic list, we've got the release of Champions Queue. You want to just run through what it is and what's cool about it?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think the first off, the basically if you've followed like the last couple off seasons probably and heard about like any of the pro players playing on like doing their like in houses to practice during the off season before scrims and everything start. This is
Yeah,
kind of like a glorified like Riot sponsored version of that. So they've got like pro players from NA, like so the LCS, like the Academy Leagues, the collegiate leagues and amateur leagues, and then like Latin America North, like those kind of leagues, all Every pro player and stuff in that has been invited to this private Discord server, and they run a like in-house bot that you can queue up, and they're tracking elo, and they have a website for it. You can view match histories, all that kind of stuff. And there's like a separate tournament realm server on the west coast, so in LA, so all the pro players that are there have the like prime ping and everything set up for that. So I think that part is really cool, and they're also doing like prizing and that kind of stuff that's spread out over a few different like splits, like the ranked splits that we have for normal League of Legends. And so that'll be pretty interesting to see how they've incentivized it, at least to get everyone to play and practice on it.
Yeah, and the splits are pretty quick. So in like their spring season, it's broken up into 3 splits, and they're just like a month long each. So it's not too much of a grind, but so there is a huge prize pool incentives to participate in Champions Queue if you are one of those eligible players to be able to participate in it. And I think this is actually kind of cool and gives the pro players a different kind of solo queue experience to play with people who are more serious minded in their gameplay, I suppose.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've been watching any streams, but it seems like there's a lot of like it's actually really hyped right now. Like even when I think like the core JJ in houses were going on, it felt like there's like a certain group definitely that was in on like, oh, we'll play in houses, but you'd get like maybe like 2 or 3 games going on at a time, and otherwise you're like watching the same lobby just like play out in house games like throughout the night for a few hours. But this one, it seems like there's like a lot more players. Like it's faster queue times for the players that are queuing up. Clearly, they've invited more people, right? It's not just like academy and LCS teams, and even then, like LCS players might not have been playing. So it seems like a lot more people are like bought into this format of it, and I'm sure that like prizing and everything has incentivized that. Uh, Granted, it's still like only the first week, but hopefully it can continue this pace.
Yeah, I'm excited to see people keep streaming it and just take part in it. And there's like a whole website where you can just go to it and it'll show everybody's like Twitch stream and stuff like that for like all of the top people. So I think it's a pretty cool idea, and I'm wondering what if the actual solo queue is just dead now, with nobody taking part in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like it's a little weird, right? Because it's like Champions Queue is only open, I think, from a certain time. It's like after like LCS scrims, and basically, like I think I've seen people say it's like 6 p.m. Pacific that like the queue opens, so you can only play for probably like 6 hours out of the day.
Oh, okay,
Um, so I don't think it's like totally screwing over solo queue, but surely there's some people that like just won't play because it's like, oh, I only played in the afternoon anyway, and now you're just like, oh, I'll play it in Champions Queue instead because I can play with fucking LCS pros. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would. I guess there's also like a considerable amount of like solo queue only players, like people that did not get invited yet, right? Like because it's only pro people. So I would feel pretty driven to still play some solo queue. I think if I was a high elo person, just because I would think that eventually, that would mean I would get an invite. But I could see how it would also be pretty demoralizing to be like one of the people in Challenger and now like just half of the challenger lobby or the challenger player base that are pro players can no longer like fill up your lobbies, and you're stuck with lower elo people and you don't have the option, so it could be annoying for sure.
Yeah, just theoretically, but we wouldn't know.
True, we wouldn't know. Though I
Uh,
have,
any,
don't you have those dreams now? It's like, oh shit, dude, Champions Queue, $400,000. What if I just grinded solo queue? Could I be challenger
I
and
know
get an
those
invite?
dreams are dead. I don't dream that way anymore.
Come on,
I
dude, you're a
anything.
Masters TFT player. How could you
I
not get
was. I'm over that
challenger?
game. The game
All right,
sucks.
all right, all right, all right.
Anything else on Champions Queue that you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Nothing for me. Just go. I would just say, go check out some streams of people playing it if you like it, or if you'd like to see. I always think the streams where people like do like are in comms are really interesting to listen to, even
Mm-hmm.
if it is just like amateur or solo queue players. So check it out.
check it out. The winners of a recent poll for like champion WeWork and also the next skin theme is going to be Skarner and Gothic. I mean, do you care if Skarner gets another rework?
I don't know, honestly. I hope they don't like make more spires or whatever. I don't know how they possibly could do that. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I hope Captain Flowers is happy. That's all I have to say about a Skarner rework.
True. Yeah, I kind of like the gameplay of Skarner right now. Minus, like I don't care for the whole Spire thing, but the way that the champion kit flows, I'm fine with the way that it is. Pretty simple. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I think I imagine that they're gonna change something about like I don't know. I think his W blows. I think his like E and Q are both like too like basic. I think his Q is like interesting. Like it's fun to play with because like you get to use this ability all the time, but it doesn't do anything either. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like lame in that sense. So I don't know. Hopefully they like I think obviously his R is gonna stay pretty much the same, and then hopefully they get to like kind of make some more interesting skills out of the rest of them. You know, keep the go fast, suppression, scorpion in the game.
Yeah, that's his identity for sure. There's some new shows on the block with one with Doubleth who had LS and Kadra on. Did you happen to watch that one?
You know, I got some of it because it's at a weird time because it's like I don't know if that's what when the schedule is generally going to be, but it was at like 11 o'clock on like a Monday, right?
Something weird
Or
like that.
Sunday,
Yeah.
11 on a Sunday, like, and I was like, I mean, I can listen to some of this, and then it got pushed back also because like LS was doing something or whatever. So like I was listening to it like a little bit, like 15 minutes of it maybe as I was going to bed on Sunday evening, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But it was I guess because it's gonna be different guests each week. It's like double of toasting and interviewing his guests, kind of like about League, but also mostly about like their like stories and just like talking to them for the show rather than like it being a LCS podcast kind of thing or anything like that. So I think that part's pretty interesting. It was fun listening to like Alice just talk about like magic and like Yu-Gi-Oh and all his like how he got to where he is, and hearing just Cagel and Delve talk to him like that was a pretty interesting like trio, I think. But I haven't listened to a whole show, and Doubleth is kind of like stiff as a podcast host, like going through topics, but they'll get there, I think.
It can't be any worse than me. So I haven't been able to take a listen to the whole thing yet, but I heard a part of the start so far, and yeah, I heard there was like some cool stories in there. So I'm probably gonna check it out.
Yeah, I'll be interested too to hear who else he gets on the show because I think I remember talking. It was like last year when the co-streams kind of started picking up, and Double was like doing it with Sneaky and Medios, and they were like talking about doing a podcast like as the three of them, and I could see like that trio being like a good like recurring kind of thing where you talk about stories. But I'm sure that they could fit like an episode of the TriCast kind of guys going nuts.
Yeah, well, maybe just like one time. I don't know
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
listen to
One
it five
episode. We
times.
don't need a whole podcast, but
Yeah, for sure though. Yeah, I'll be sure to check it out. And now finally, we can talk about LCS week one, and really the start. I mean, I'll just run through the standings really quick. Four teams are 2-0 right now. That makes Cloud9, Dignitas, FlyQuest, and 100 Thieves. Following them up, EG and TL are 1-1. TSM, Immortals, CLG, and Golden Guardians are all 0-2. So they just ran through all of the teams, but then really the start of the show this week is all eyes on Cloud9, and so that's really what I want to talk about just for this weekend. Did you catch any of the two Cloud9 games this weekend?
dude, how could you not? Honestly, like
Yeah.
if there's anything that we've learned from week one of the LCS is that the church is in session and Cloud9 is like fun. Like I don't know, even if you don't aren't a Cloud9 fan, even if you're like a Cloud9 hater, I want to watch those games so that I can see like, oh my god, they're gonna pick fucking Ivern mid. It has to go badly, right? Like I have to see this game go fucking and like that team has to implode by picking Ivan mid, and then they win, and you're like, what the fuck, you know, like. But then I don't know, it's so much fun to watch them like pick these new picks. Like I'm almost surprised to see these like signature like Ivern Soraka mid picks. Like this is what LS got hired as a coach, and I was thinking this is what he's gonna do, right? He's gonna try and pick these picks that he's preached and said like it's S tier, like all those tier lists, all the memes from last year. Like that's what you want to see, like him actually implement in LCS, and he did it week one in both games, and they won it. Like it was like not even kind of close, like in how well it worked. So I'm pretty excited to see how they continue. But what I don't know. What did you think of the first week from Cloud9?
Yeah, I didn't. I kind of second monitored the first Iron game where it seemed like actually that game started off kind of slow, but then they just exploded out of nowhere. It still ended up being a pretty low kill count game, but that one was okay. And then I only got to see parts of the Soraka game, and it was pretty much just Olaf, Blabber doing apeshit stuff on Olaf again, and which got me thinking. Well, thank God it's like that kind of meta again because he seems to thrive well in that when it's not Rumble, Morgana, jungle, dog shit.
Yeah,
So it seems like a lot of things are in place with them right now, and I'm excited to continue to see a Summit, Winsome, and a Berserker. But it seems like Berserker is doing fine for himself so far.
yeah, I would definitely say that Berserker. Like I think of those three, like you kind of expected Summit to be like the best, like out the get go, you know. Like he's a proven like LCK, like really good top lane talent, and he figured that's like I wasn't surprised at all to see Summit performing well, you know, in his games. But then Berserker is like the guy that's like off T1 trainees, and like you're like I don't know, like I'm sure he's good. Like there's no doubt that that Berserker and Winsome are gonna be good, but like how good is he gonna be? And he popped off in more than a few of the fights this weekend. So excited to see how he continues to grow, especially if they're going to be playing enchanter mids all split long. You know, that's perfect meta for a 80 carry to shine, right?
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna keep going along this path, or of like LS just gonna pick what you're gonna play, or what else Fudge is gonna try to pull out as well. But it seems like what they've got kind of going on, um, outside of lock-in tournament and moving into the real LCS, seems like they're having a blast so far, and it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the one thing I thought was funny from this weekend was I think whether it was Fudge like in a post game interview or something, somehow it came out like Fudge was like the Soraka pick on the day two, like that was less of like oh we're planning to run this, but you know like he said he hadn't played Soraka in 2 years, right? This is he's first time in Soraka on LCS stage in 2 years, and it was more like a cheese pick because they felt like EG was the better team, and that was how they would like eke out a win would be by picking something that they'd have like no plan for. So I don't know if that's gonna be like every game. Like I don't think that's what we should expect is like that he picks enchanters every game for Fudge. You know, I'm sure he has champions that he's practiced on like outside of that. Um, but we'll see. I'm sure that he has champions that he's practiced on that aren't those two, but are also still weird for LCS. You know, but I wouldn't be surprised to still see Fudge like picking a Victor, picking an Oriana, you know, something like that, and playing like traditional mids too if that's the comp that they called for.
Yeah, and spring split is the time to do it for sure.
That's true. That's true.
Was there any other teams that you want to talk about for this week?
You know, I think I'm still impressed to see like Dignitas continue their good showing from lock-in. They had an easy 2-0 this week, kind of over Immortals and TSM, which aren't, I would say, like resume building wins, but they're good wins. You know, it's like not dropping those games is also a
We
good
take
sign.
those.
Yeah. So I think that they look like a pretty good team still continuing, and then the other one, like I think, would be 100 Thieves coming back and like showing up as a 2-0. Um, just after they had a kind of disappointing drop out of lock in, and then taking the win over TL, who won lock in, and then also um, picking up their own win against like a CLG that you'd expect them to win, but still to prove that is a good rebound. And
Yeah,
then I guess go ahead. Do you have any about those two?
I was just gonna say a little sad to see CLG going 0-2 with their big kind of rookie roster, but also a win's a win right now. And so go ahead and finish what you're gonna say, and then I want to talk a little bit more about Dignitas.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last one. I don't know, the four undefeated teams. They all have like the kind of their own like unique story. I was gonna say the last one is FlyQuest. That is like the one team that brought out the Smite Enchanter tops all for this whole weekend, and like that's a shout out to see them like pick up wins on it, and like bring the solo queue meta into the LCS. So like that was fun to see too. I think, but that's one of those where I wonder how long they'll be able to play that. Like is this a 2-0 FlyQuest that's actually worth being 2-0? Like I like their bot lane, but I don't know that they can keep this kind of stuff up all split long if you know the patch preview that we just talked about is going to hit, and then that'll knock them down a peg if they'll have to play meta, if they'll be as good, that kind of stuff. But cool to see them pick up the 2-0 with the new strategy.
Yeah, well, they'll get two more weeks on this patch, and I think, and yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts. Do you think Dignitas and FlyQuest they're both 2-0? Is it a fake 2-0, kind of considering who they're playing? And then we can also talk about some any games that are gonna catch our interest next week. But what do you think about like this kind of the standing so far? It's Cloud 900 Thieves, FlyQuest, and Dignitas undefeated. Do you think these four teams are gonna stick up there, or which of those or will stick up there?
Yeah, I think if I looked at just the standings right now, I think the top six is pretty much the top six that I would expect. Not necessarily in order. I think EG and TL, like it's week one and they had, kind of rough matchups. Like obviously they were pitting the hype matchups for the first week. So having EG lose a game to C9 and TL lose a game to 100 Thieves, like those aren't like bad losses necessarily. So those six teams, being the four that we mentioned in EG and TL, are definitely like the top six teams that I would expect coming out of spring. But for Dignitas and FlyQuest is maybe like I guess FlyQuest is maybe the one that's the of anybody there, they're the most likely to be an imposter. Like they've got the Smite top thing is like I don't know how long that can last. They have the history of last year, being like they had to sub in their fucking academy roster. They did it better than the main roster. Like I don't know if they can keep it up. We'll have to see. But they had some promising performances, like individual performances. So the next weeks will prove differently. But for like the bottom teams now, the O2 teams, I'm not surprised that any of them, like in a vacuum, is O2. Like TSM with a brand new bunch of rookies, Immortals, like it's kind of like the CLG story of last year. Like I would like to see them do good, but I'm not surprised to see them do bad. CLG and Golden Guardians, traditional bottom of the barrel teams at this point. So yeah, I don't know. No, nobody looked like absolutely horrid. I will say that. Like, I feel like of this last weekend, there was no games where I was like, God, this team fucking blows. LCS is doomed, kind of thing. But there's still definitely some OG teams. That's clear.
Yeah. Is there anything else about this week's first week of LCS games you want to discuss?
I don't think anything in particular for me. Anything from you?
No, not really. Just kind of looking forward to see if TSM pulls themselves out of a rut. Because it doesn't look like they're having such a hot start, and I don't know if they're going to keep having one. But looking forward to TSM Legends if there will be one.
That's true. Yeah. I think last week, right, Spica was on Hotline League and he kind of talked about like how he sounded like he didn't have that high of expectations for the roster in spring at least either. Like they were still figuring out a lot of like the communication stuff and like learning English and that kind of stuff like or for their Chinese players like whereas Dignitas had like they brought in River and like that first week of of lock in it was like how is Dignitas going to mesh with this jungler who just started scrims this week and then they popped off, right? And they're still kind of on that trend. I think the TSM roster definitely has more that they have to kind of try and mesh with, like being like the mid laner in support and like having to put all this like pressure on Spica to do like translating and that kind of stuff. I didn't have that high of like expectations for them going into this week one. It would have been cool if they picked up wins, but I'm not surprised to see them at 0-2. But at the same time, I'm not like worried that they're 0-2. Like
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to follow for sure. But I think they can definitely turn things around as the season progresses.
Yeah. And then something I kind of wanted to talk to you about is that I saw on Twitter that LEC is halfway done already. So it's kind of crazy that LCS just had its first week and LEC is like kind of halfway done. And I remember last year there was some like weird stuff about the playoff patches being off in some regions where like some places were playing 11.6
Mm.
and some regions were playing 11.5 or
Hmm.
some mumbo jumbo like that. So it's kind of weird that we just had our first week and some other regions are like week 3, week 4 already. Just wanted to kind of point that out.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too. I think what LEC is like. I guess they're a whole like 3 weeks ahead of LCS. I was trying to think because they've done like a super week already, which just means that they had an extra game. So yeah, so a whole if they're at 9 games finished, and we're only at 2, then that makes sense to be a 4 weeks to win. Um, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that weird just because it's been the lock-in thing. Like I'm okay with it. I don't know. I guess it depends. It depends more for me, like when playoffs end for every region. Like you said, if playoffs start at different times, then you have the weird patches, and because playoffs have to be on a patch freeze, then it gets like messy when comes to MSI stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
if if playoffs all end like roughly around the same time, then it's not a big deal to me. But clearly that probably won't happen. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
All right, and then let's go ahead and look forward to next week's games as well. Again, just a simple Saturday, Sunday is all we have to look forward to. So for Saturday, there's some pretty obvious games pointing out, but what's going to stick out to you for be on your watch list?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two big ones for Saturday has got to be Dig EG and C9TL for me. Dignitas and EG just because it's Dignitas on a surge, and EG still is like a hype team to watch. I think with JoJo and Danny, Danny getting his pentakill on the Zeri debut in LCS. Dignitas still looking like they're on a high, riding a high to start the season. So either of these teams can pull a statement win kind of out of that game. And then C9TL for me is like a big, like C9 is the church versus TL is like, I
The
don't know,
money,
the
the cash.
Inquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah, TL is the old man. Like this is the way we've always done it, and C9 is like we're gonna pick fucking Soraka mid and Tryndamere top, and good luck, bro. So I'm interested to see how that matchup plays, just because of the like very contrasting styles from an outside perspective. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe Bjergsen will be like, nah, fuck it, dude. I can play Ivern mid. I've seen it in Champions Queue.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some dark technology going on out there. I mean, the support top stuff is happening in Champions Queue, and
That's true.
I'm sure it's pretty rough down there. So I'll follow that up with EG has also got a big game on Sunday as well versus 100 Thieves. So next week is going to be kind of an important week for EG. Not in particular, playing somebody who's up a game on them on the Saturday, like you were saying, and then just another known tough opponent or another 2-0 opponent on Sunday as well. So they've definitely
Right.
got a huge week ahead of them. Um, but then, yeah, other than that, not much else sticks out to me. It seems upper teams versus lower teams across the board for the rest of the time.
Yeah, which I feel like this will be a week not for any team in particular besides like you said EG, but like nobody's gonna have these marquee matchups, but it's gonna be interesting to see for the LCS as a whole, like how these top to bottom matchups kind of play out. Because I think a lot of people talked. I mean, it's only week one and the lock in, but a lot of people talked about how this week the LCS has already been pretty like fucking entertaining with the how the games have played out, the different storylines of the Church of LS and that kind of stuff playing. Um, but I'll be interested to see this week if the bottom teams, can take some matches or keep things close. Because that's going to be what determines if like the league is actually good, right? If these teams that are started 0-2 aren't just like dumpster fire teams, and teams that are started 2-0 aren't just like a whole level above. So if these other games that are mostly throwaways and just looking at the schedule, like if they turn out to be pretty good spectacles, then I'll be excited for the league going forward.
Yep, I'm totally in agreement with you there. Anything else for this week's or next week's games of LCS?
No, I don't think anything for me, dude. I'm just interested to see how the meta continues to shape up. If anything's gonna change from week one to week two, if we're gonna have the crazy counter picks practice, or if things are just gonna stay the same and Ivern mid is gonna run rampant or what.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone else is gonna try to pick up Soraka mid or anything like that. That'll be interesting to see.
I think we've already, I've been watching some academy. There's already been some academy players that have been doing that. Like I think I watched Immortals Academy today. They played best of two series in that league, and they in both of their games today in their series they played Ivern mid.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So some teams are playing it. I don't know. I'm sure with Champions Queue and with how like the probably increased prevalence of like internal scrims, I'm sure that there are more teams like cooking stuff up. The thing that like is going to be scary for the teams that have to play Cloud9 is that it sounds like Cloud9 probably has an idea of what would be the right counter to those things, and the other teams are all like scrambling, like what the fuck am I gonna do? But Cloud9's like, oh look, we can't pick this champ into this or that, right? So if they just first pick it thinking it's gonna be okay, they're gonna have a full counter like already ready.
Yep, and they gotta get those reps in against these cancer champions.
Right.
All right. I think we can start to wrap this one up. Don't want to leave though without doing some picks of the week. And I've got one
Woohoo!
ready if you want me to go ahead and get started.
Yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Okay. I played two normal games with our boy 4G this past week. And one of them
Hmm.
I played Tryndamere top because I just, wanted to play something simple. And it's always, what I really like about playing Tryndamere is I feel like I can't mess up in terms of either playing the champion or doing something that's like marginally correct out on the map. And so it's either I can just and also just in lane of like what should I do? Should I freeze here or just go ape shit on this guy? And
Right.
there's usually like multiple correct lines of play there, and I chose to go apeshit on this other Mordekaiser that I was laning against, and one of the times I got some lucky crits, and it turned out really well, and it just I did it again and again and again, and so I had a really fun time playing Tryndamere that game. Even with the teleport changes, like now I just teleport to my lane now. There's no
Right.
other option, and it just felt good to dominate that guy and split push a little bit, but then I can also just group up and people are scared of me, and it feels good to play him with Gale Force as well, just to be able to get on top of people and smack them with 80% crit chance with one crit item, and that's gonna be my pick of the week. Just keeping it simple,
I like that, dude.
keeping
You
it
know, I
cool.
think Tryndamere I think Tryndamere is one of the first champs that I like learned to play in League. Like during my leveling journey, I was a Trynd top player pretty frequently. And I think I still remember a game like one of those core memory kind of things about learning League was where like I had played Tryndamere top for a while and like I knew how to build Trynd. It was like you went Phantom Dancer first and then like other crit items or whatever. Like beyond that, it didn't fucking matter to me.
Yeah,
Um, and I remember like being like getting to the point where we started playing as like a group of five, and I would play AD carry just because that was like whatever role was left. Um, and like I remember playing an AD carry for the first time, and my friend who was like the one who had played League before us was like, I was like, what do I build? What do I build? And he was like, dude, you know how to build AD carry? Just build like that. And I'm like, no, I don't fucking know how to build AD carry. And he's like, yeah, you do. You play trainer. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So I had to, that was like just one of those where the whole like learning how everything fits together in this game is like pretty funny. But I like that champ. Good pick. Good pick.
that's a nice story. I like him too, and I recently like rolled just like the sacrifice 3 shards for a skin, and I got like a decent skin for Tryndamere. So
Ooh, nice.
it's always good to get those.
Yeah.
What about you,
Um,
man?
Yeah, as for me for pick of the week, I think, like I've been playing AD carry because that's what I do, and I've mostly just been playing like Zeri if I have the choice to pick Zeri, and Jinx if I don't. So nothing special there. But I'll say that I've been like playing mid just like from Phil or whatever for a little bit, and I picked up Vigar in this last week, and that champ's pretty fun still. Um, the buff that he's got, to the like the little buff to his stacking against cannon minions and stuff is pretty nice. Um, just it's a good champ to like. I feel like if you know like what you're doing, it's a little bit like a Tryndamere kind of like where if you know that you're gonna win this fight, you can go ahead and do it. And like I've been going Predator on him, so it's kind of like you get the boots. If you know that you have lethal, right? Like you hit a W or you hit a Q, the guy's at 60% HP. You're like, okay, I have lethal. You run at him, you turn on Predator, you run at him, you put the cage around him, you hit Everfrost, everything's fucking guaranteed. It's just like a strategy game of like whether or not you can do it. Um, it's pretty fun. The one game I think I only played him once, like this last week, and it was a fucking banger of a game where the rest of my team is fucking crumbling around me, but I was like a 27 kill Vigar. I'm just trying my best to one shot as many things as I could. It was a fucking mess. I love it.
That what 20 what? That's pretty
I
crazy.
was it was 27 kills. I'm looking back at the score right now. I was 27, 4, and 14. I went like I don't know if you follow C9 Vigar, the Vigar V2, their coach,
Yeah.
one of their assistant coaches. If you follow him on Twitter, he posts a lot about Vigar because he likes Vigar, clearly by his name. Um, but I've been like the build that I'll go is like kind of off of his, like from like reading some of his tweets and stuff, and he goes like you go like the boots for Predator, Everfrost into Death Cap because you get so much AP, right? And then if you need like defensive, you don't need like Zonias or anything because like if you need a Zonias as Vigar, you're probably already dead. If you get Banshees, like you don't need Banshees. Um, so you go like anathemas like against like a true carry, right? So like I went anathemas third against that team, and it was just like I don't know. It was just so funny to be like, I have two damage items and one like pure tank item, and I have like 800 AP. It's such a funny champ. It's such a funny champ.
Yeah, you just remind me, like lately I've been really surprised by the range of Everfrost. I feel like it's way too long. What do you think?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. It's one of those that like it's long, but at the same time, if you're like you have to be able to set it up still, right? Like most champs
True.
can't just run at you. Like most champs that build Everfrost can't just run at you and try to Everfrost as setup because then they'll be out of position if they miss, right? And like if you're expecting them to Everfrost, it's like pretty easy to space it out. But like as something, like if you're a TF, if you're a Vigar that puts on a cage, like and then you force them to like have to get Everfrosted, it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a Teemo too long. And I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the year it gets cut down like an inch or something like that. That's just
Yeah,
something that's been bugging me playing up against a lot of like Silas's lately.
I could see that. But that's just Silas, dude. See, I don't play against that champ. I ban that every game.
True. All right. I think that's it for me for this episode, man.
Yeah, I think me too. Time to get back on the Lost Ark grind. Am I right? Or am I right?
Pretty much, dude. Just trying to rush through it. No, I think it was a solid episode here. Okay, and that's going to be it for episode 44 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you're listening to us on, if you haven't already. We'd appreciate it if you also give us a rating or hit the like button to show some support. You can find us on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and so forth. And we'll see you all next week for another episode of On the Hunt.
See you guys in Arcasia. Am I right or am I right?
Is that what it's called?
Lost Ark continent. I'll Google it now.